Hello and welcome, Taekwondo practitioners, instructors, and enthusiasts from all around the world. My name is Daniel Schmidt, and I'm honored to be your moderator for this session. It's the 23rd session in this 24-hour online celebration. I'm taking over again after several hours of other moderators, and it's great what we have seen so far. It's really an historic event. Well, today is a truly historic day, April 11, 2025, marking 70 years of Taekwondo. Whether you're joining us from Asia, Europe, the Americas, Africa, or Oceania, we are honored to have you here for this 24-hour global online celebration. And Taekwondo is, for us, more than just a martial art. It's a philosophy, a way of life, and a force that unites people across cultures, languages, and generations. From the moment General Choi Hong-hee founded Taekwondo in 1955, it has spread to every corner of the world, empowering millions through discipline, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. As this is the 23rd session, you probably know it's 24 hours, 24 sessions, 24 different topics. You can experience and have experienced insightful discussions, live training sessions, and stories from Taekwondo legends. And this session is no exception. But before we begin, I want to remind you that this event is completely free and open to all. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. In this 23rd session, we start with the 23rd pattern, which is Se-Jong. Personally, my favorite pattern, the pattern that holds most meaning to me. So this was an inspiring performance of Se-Jong by Master Lilian Delay from France. As mentioned, this pattern holds deep meaning, symbolizing Se-Jong the Great. But we are not only here to reflect over Se-Jong and enjoy performances. We are here to follow our speakers. And for this session, we have something very special. We have a pre-recorded session. It's the last training session that we have. And we will meet practitioners that we have seen before. But now this is enough teasing. I will just start the presentation. It is held by Master Thierry Meyour from Finland, and he has support from two members that we have seen regularly in patterns today, but also in with own sessions. Okay, here it comes.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you to the ITF for the honor of allowing me to introduce you a session today and present you a session. Or what do we say?
Present a session.
Present a session?
Yeah.
Present a session. Okay. But before we start, I would like to introduce my colleagues. So first of all, Sabnim Ariella Figueroa. Sorry, I know my patterns, my speech level is not what it should be. Okay, so Ariella Figueroa, world champion, European champion, World Cup champion, pattern performer of a high standard. And I'm sure you have watched her session earlier, and if you have not, then I highly recommend it. And here we have Mira, Sjövall, so 4 times world champion, 6 times European champion, and pattern and spar as well. So yeah, I'm very lucky to have them with me today. And I don't know if I have thanked yet the ITF, but if I have not, then thank you to the ITF for the opportunity again to allow me to present you the following session. So today, lesson will be focusing on mainly the roots of pattern stability through the discovery of fundamental stances the reasoning behind the angles of the feet, and the importance of the hips. Second part will be the understanding of the sine wave, the proper body distribution through proper setup, and the different ways to perform it as different stances and movement types. And finally, we'll talk about the power generation in patterns and trying to debunk the sense of power versus the genuine power. So I hope this will be useful for you, and here you go. So before we start, we're going to have a small warm-up as well as an activation exercise. So I'm going to leave it to my saboons to be able to show you how to do it, okay? I'll step out of the camera and give him direction. All right. First, head up and down. Left and right. Arms. Forward. Very nice. And keep your hips completely locked and try to move only your shoulders, keeping your hips absolutely locked. Now the same thing, but lock your shoulders and move your hips. So this movement is quite important because we will learn to use the hip motion, and sometimes we don't have to move the whole body, but the main thing is that our hips must be guiding our motion. Then after that, we'll go with the arms, backward, forward, this way. This is to activate the shoulder blades and understanding the different techniques or the different mechanics of the punch. Relax, very good. The ankles and the knees, go ahead. And knees slightly bent. And relax. Very good. Next, we're going to try to start activating our glutes. So we're going to have an exercise that is going to be divided into 3 parts, and each part has 2 parts, divided into 10 repetitions per part. So the first one, the most important thing is that we're going to be working leg by leg, and you cannot put the leg in between the series or the sets until the whole part is finished. So the first part is making sure that your supporting leg is straight, and then raising the opposite leg and moving it forward, backward slowly. 10 times. Forward, backward is 1 time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. From here, go forward and up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure that your knee remains completely stable. 8, 9, and 10. Keep the leg up, and now move inward and outward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now slowly bending. 1, 2. Theoretically, you should start feeling already the glutes burning. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Don't put the feet on the floor. Very good. Now circle forward, big circle backward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep the knee straight. 9, and 10. Very good. Now, bending forward, up, bending backward. Hana. Tul. Sit. Nit. Dasut. Yosut. Ilgop. Yodol. Ahop. Yol. Very good. And now from here you can relax the first leg. Very good. And go down into, do 5 squats to be able to somehow relax the muscle. Tul. Sit. Net. And dasut. Very good. All right. The other side. Ready? It's burning? Yes? All right. Rani, the other leg. Hana. Tul. Sit. Net. Dasut. Yosut. Ilgop. Yodol. Ahop. Yol. Very good. Hana. Tul. Sit. Net. Dasut. Yosut. Ilgop. Yodol. Ahop. Yol. Very good. Now inside, outside. Hana. Tul. Sit. Net. Dasut. Yosut. Ilgop. Yodol. Ahop. Yol. Bend the knee. Hana. Tul. Sit. Net. Dasut. Yosut. Ilgop. Yodol. Ahop. Yol. Very good. Inside, outside. Hana. Tul. Circle. Sit. Net. Dasut. Yosut. Ilgop. Yodol. Ahop. Yol. Very good. Now bend the knee. Hana. Tul. Sit. Net. Dasut. Yosut. Ilgop. Yodol. Ahop. And Yol. Very good. Relax. So the important part in this exercise, really make sure to keep your upper body completely straight and upright. Yeah, do a couple of squats to recover. Try to really keep your body upright. And this is a very good exercise for body and glute activation. And a lot of stability and balance, okay? This is fundamental balance that we need for Taekwondo. I am not personally a big fan of balance boards, etc., because we don't actually perform patterns on balance boards, so it's a completely different thing. What I like when we perform balance is really just on the actual platform that we will be working. Balance boards are good if you want to strengthen the ankle muscles, etc., to avoid injury prevention, to have injury prevention. But for me, it's not necessary. It's maybe a good tool for demonstration, etc., but it's not actually a tool that is functional for our art. Okay, I hope the warm-up was not too heavy. Theoretically, you should feel the glute activated, and the pain should be anywhere where it's needed. Some people feel it even in the bottom of the feet. Okay, so this is a very good exercise for, like I said earlier, for balance and also making understanding, you know, like getting aware of your butt. And the main thing that I would like to focus on is really maybe you felt a certain difference between the first part of the exercise, of the last activation, glute activation, and the second part. So maybe you felt how your activated glute felt compared to the one that was not activated. And this is something that is quite important, because from there you can understand the importance of the glutes when you are working. Okay, the whole back chain is extremely important, and the glutes is actually what connects your upper body and your lower body. Okay, now let's talk about the functionality of the stances. The idea behind it is, how do I find my stances naturally and make them efficient? Okay, so the first thing we're going to go to is, what is the blueprint that I'm going to use to be able to get the stances that we use in Taekwondo? For me, the blueprint that I use is always the parallel stance. The parallel stance has everything I need. The feet are parallel, the knees are aligned with the feet, with the toes, and then the hip is perpendicular to the feet, which makes it always something that is, it's a natural stance. From there we can find the first stance, which is more sugi. Okay, same thing, perpendicular, and then feet parallel and aligned with the knees. Then the second one is a sitting stance, anunsogi. Same principle. The hip is perpendicular, and the knees are aligned with the feet. To my understanding, if you talk about genuine biomechanics, the correct way to be able to have the feet would be to have slightly the feet outward. But of course, in Taekwondo, we don't have that. Then the third one would be the different bending ready stances. So the one-legged stance, for example. All right. That can be done into, for example, what we have in Juche. Yes. So the same principle, the feet, the knees, the alignment. And this is, the next one is the exception that I have, is the bending ready, bending ready stance B. Okay, so we have it here, where the foot of the knee is actually getting outward. All right. So this is the bending ready stance B. So the feet is always, the supporting leg foot is always facing here at the neutral stance. So if I would go back into the Narani Sogi, it would be back into the parallel stance facing here. All right? That's the fundamental for these stances. The next one we're going to see is the L stance. How do we find the L stance? So the L stance goes from the principle that we have the back foot facing 15 degrees inward, and the front foot as well facing 15 degrees inward. So the way we're going to do it, imagine now we're going to go from the principle that, we start again, my back foot is going to be my right leg. I want you to rotate your heel slightly outward to create a kind of angle of 15 degrees. Okay? Right foot. Thank you. From there, if you realize, your hip is now actually facing, this leg's hip is actually facing this way, and this one is actually facing there. So the way we want to find it now is to just reset our position, our Narani Sogi, that both feet are parallel to the back foot. So we move the left foot into the angle that is right. This angle gives me now the half facing of my stance. This is the final position of my shoulders, my hip in the stance. From here, we find all the stances that have the back foot at 15 degrees. For example, the vertical stance, Sojiksogi, so we just move the foot 25 degrees, and we have here the vertical stance. The inside of the foot, the front toes are aligned in the center of the feet. And here we have again that the hip is aligned, is perpendicular to the back leg's knee and to the toes. From here we go back to the Duibal Sogi, so what do we call it in English? One leg, sorry, barefoot stance, Duibal Sogi. Okay. So we put the body weight on the back leg, and the front knee is slightly bent, and the front heel is slightly raised. Okay? From here now, we're going to move the front leg. So I move something out. We move the foot forward, and we put the toes aligned, the front toe, big toe aligned with the back heel. Okay? The length of the stance, this is now we have the L stance. If you notice, the hip is perpendicular to the rear leg, and the knee is still aligned with the back foot. So what we're looking for now is to make sure, to get the length of the stance, we're going to try to align our hip, back foot hip, with the inside of the foot. And from there, just slightly land, and this is your L stance. If you notice, if she would just stand up and relax, if she just goes down into the stance, she just goes down into the stance and not back into the stance. And that is one thing that is quite important. We don't want to actually tilt the hip back, we just want to sit into our stance. In order to get the fixed stance from here, we just move the front foot, we divide the foot in two, and from here we just move the front foot that the heel is aligned with the middle of the position of the midfoot. So again here we just moved and transferred the center of gravity forward. We did not actually create the stance, we just moved the center of gravity forward. The body is still aligned, nothing has changed. The structure is exactly the same. If she would go back, not moving the back foot, if she would go back into the parallel stance from here, she would find again the parallel stance with the same angle as she should have. She started with. That is how you find all the stances with the back foot at 15 degrees. So the next stances we're going to study are the stances which back foot is facing at 25 degrees. So Gunnosogi and Nachosogi, walking stance and long stance. So we go from the same principle, Naranisogi, and now instead of going at 15 degrees, we're going to go with the back foot at 25 degrees. So we're going to have to really, if you can face there, please. And going there. Thank you. All right. So your back foot is going to go at 25 degrees. 25 degrees, really back, yeah. And you're going to try to find again your stance and trying to find that your feet are shoulder width. Okay? So you turn your foot at 25 degrees, this way. And you go with the foot here. Yes. This is the angle now. If you notice, we end up in a half-facing stance. And this is going to be quite important. If you notice, the hip, the knee, the hip is perpendicular to the back knee and also, of course, to the front. Okay, now if you notice, we are already in a half-facing position. This half-facing position is important. Please keep it in your mind. So from here now, we're just going to go moving the front foot into a walking stance. The length of the walking stance is just going to be the knee aligned with the heel, and the length of the walking stance from here is just what feels comfortable for you. Remember, for me, the most important thing is the stance should serve you, should serve the purpose, which is to have stability, anchoring, and balance. This is the most important part and the most important purpose of stances. Okay? If you notice one thing, if you're completely relaxed, you are already in a half-facing position. So the idea that we have now is that the natural stance, the natural way you land into your walking stance is in half-facing. When you land naturally into your walking stance, it is a half-facing position. So what often bothers me when I watch people performing patterns is that they try to create the half-facing stance. When in reality you don't create a half-facing stance, you just, if your stance is correct, you just fall naturally into your half-facing. So from here, if you want to go from half-facing into full-facing, I want you to just imagine now the glute pushing forward, your back leg's glute pushing forward. Once you tense your glute, you theoretically should be able to get yourself into a walking stance. If you relax your glute, you end up again into a half-facing stance. This is half-facing, this is full-facing. You don't have to move the back foot, you just have to push your glute forward. Okay? So let's imagine now we go into a walking stance, full facing, but only using our shoulders. Most of the time, this is what we see. We see, structurally speaking, yes, it's a full facing stance, half facing stance, etc. But structurally speaking, does it make sense? Does it make sense? Is it like structurally strong? So we're going to test it. She just moved her shoulders in. Now, if I punch, she's going to try to put some resistance, and I'm going to hit. Look, already the upper body. I'm not putting so much power. Okay? Now, from here, I want her to imagine that she's anchoring her glute into the stance. The back leg's glute into the stance. Go. Okay? And now, stability is there. All right? If we go to a parallel stance, same thing. Let's imagine now we have an X. Sorry. We have an X. The X goes from the shoulder to the toe, shoulder to the toe. And the center of gravity goes somewhere in the middle. The power comes from the opposition, meaning that this part of the body is going to stabilize this part of the body, and vice versa. Both parts will automatically collide. So let's go, for example, here. She goes to a parallel stance. Okay. The fist. Okay. And let's imagine now I activate this leg. I will activate the leg just by giving it a couple of taps. So the body knows that this is the leg that has to be activated. Well, now I will activate the opposite leg. So that is the structure that we're talking about. You want to always feel that when you're performing, you're actually going into a sense of opposition. All right? Sorry? Sitting stance, for example. Yeah. From here, one thing with the sitting stance, very important, please think. When you go into the sitting stance, don't collapse your knees. Okay? Don't collapse the knees. Collapsing the knees is just, for me, it doesn't make sense. You need to go down with your hips. If she goes down with collapsing the knees, with the hand, she will go backward. One. Okay? If she goes down, relax, going down from the hips, anchoring her hips down, the stability is there. Okay? So when you're performing, let's go back, for example, a little bit out of subject, go back to sitting stance, sorry, into Anun Sogi Kande Baruchirigi, so middle punch. When you are performing your punch, you don't want to collapse your knees when you're going down, but you actually want to go down with your hips. So for example, Hana. If she goes down with the knees, Tul. Goes down with the knees again, Hana, with the knees. And now she goes down with the hips, two. Okay? So that is the stability we're looking for. If you notice, the momentum is forward. Even when you're in a static position, what we call static position, like sitting stance, is a static position because we're not moving in any direction, we're going up and down. The static position is actually still giving me a direction. The way I'm sitting is giving me a direction because my glute is sitting backward, therefore my upper body is projecting forward. If this makes sense, then I serve the purpose of this one. Okay, now we're going to enter the magical world of the sine wave. What is a sine wave? Is it a wave? Is it an undulation? What is it? So the wave, naturally, when we see the sea, or when we look at the sea, the wave doesn't go really down, up, down. A wave goes straight up and back. A wave goes up and forward, up and forward. Of course, in Taekwondo we have the first part, which is down, up, down. Now, the first stance we teach, or we have learned in Taekwondo, has always been, in my opinion, at least the way I understand it, is a sitting stance. We learn to punch as a sitting stance, etc., and we are bombarded and, you know, like, come on, you have to do it. It's down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. And this way of performance, this way of thinking, these words, get eventually into our muscle memory, which makes it everything that we perform will be down, up, down. And that, in my opinion, creates this kind of confusion when we talk about the sine wave, especially when we talk about the efficiency of the sine wave. People often look at us as ITF Taekwondo and they just don't understand it because they see the over-exaggeration of the sine wave, and I think the technical committee is absolutely right when they talk about just find it a natural impulse to be able to get the movement forward. Think about when you want to start your sine wave, you don't want to actually create a sine wave, you don't want to create an impulse, you just want to have just an impulse. You just want to be able to go into the next movement. When you walk, you don't create an impulse to move. You just use your ball of the foot that is going to create an upward movement in a way that is going to allow you to go always forward. All right? So this is the sine wave. The sine wave for me is just anything. The way we breathe, we have the sine wave. Relax, up, down, relax, up, down, relax, up, down. The way we move, when we move, it's always relaxed, up, down. When we dance, dancing has a sine wave. Boxing has a sine wave. Ice skaters use the sine wave. Believe it or not, I teach, we actually teach, we have taught sine wave to paddle players. Can you imagine that? So this is one thing that every sport, every art has without even knowing it. What we have is that this is actually our philosophy of movement is based on this principle. And in my opinion, often it's misunderstood or misinterpreted. So, if it's not down, up, down, what is it? For me, it's very simple. It's just relaxed, impulse, and down forward or down, landing. Okay? So let's imagine she goes into a sitting stance, yeah? And then she would be just relaxing and jumping. Go. That is a sine wave. If she needs to bend too much her knees to jump, she actually collapses. And this is not what we are looking for. We're just looking enough muscle tension or activation to be able to create an impulse upward. So 1, that's enough. If you watch basketball players, when they play basketball and they are like in the ring or trying to get the score, they're already in the downward part. And they just want to have the impulse to go upward. They want to take away the first part, this relaxed part. They actually are into it. But in our case, what we want to be able to use that motion. We want to be able to get this. The ice skater, when he's performing, she wants to be able to get the anchoring to be able to go up to make the vault. It's the same principle. So when we perform it without the jump, it's exactly the same principle. So if you do it with a punch, 1, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So the knees are just bent enough to be able to create that impulse. If I go up and I straighten the knees, automatically I will stop the motion. I will stop the motion. The breathing, the hand motion, everything has to be in a continuous, non-stoppable motion, let's say. So when she performed the sine wave, it's down, up, with the knee slightly bent, and then from there, down. 1, 2, 3. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So this is in a sitting stance, sorry. Let's go now to a walking stance. Walking stance is the same principle. When we talk about the sine wave in walking stance, everybody says, oh, you need to relax the back leg. But then you're going downward. We go back to the same principle. It's down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. You don't have power. You cannot generate power. Why? Because you're going from there to there to there automatically. What you're looking for actually is a downward forward, so this motion, and the impulse actually happens with the front leg, not with the back leg, with the front leg, which is going to push me forward and push my center of gravity forward in order to land into my stance. This is the sine wave for the walking stance. So if I'm here, it's not this, up, down, okay? But it's actually this. That's the sine wave in a walking stance. What you're looking for actually is really just to transfer, to relax your body weight and go forward, down, putting mass and power on your front leg in order to be able to sprint, if I can say. Okay, it's the same principle as a starting block in a sprinting. You don't go this way to go there. If you're going in this direction, you have to automatically get the incentive to always go in the direction that you're performing your technique. So if she's going into a walking stance, middle punch, if she just goes down, up and down, she just has a static punch. What's the difference? Please come this way. So if she goes here, and she goes down, up and down, there is no power. Why? Because the technique stops here. There is no forward momentum in the technique. So now we go with the forward down, 1. That's what you're looking for. And that is the link to the third part of our discussion about genuine power. Okay, genuine power is penetration into the opponent. It's not sharpness, it's penetration. It's the sense of, oh, I don't want to get that punch. I don't want to get punched in the face. I don't want to get punched in the stomach. People always try to get this kind of final stitch like this, and it might look good, but is it efficient? What we're looking for is not just, what we are looking for is beauty through efficiency, not beauty through posing. That is what Taekwondo is all about, and that is, if we are celebrating now the 70th anniversary of Taekwondo, then we are looking for efficiency of what our founder wanted to have originally. Efficiency of movement, not posing techniques. In order to show the power of the sine wave in walking stance and the directional power in the walking stance, we're going to use a tool that we have here at Black Belt Taekwondo. It's a small gadget that we use for kids, but I think it's it's a good tool to show also the power, because it actually shows the power here. All right, so we started from the beginning. All right, so from here. So I will show you every time the results, okay? So the first technique is just from here. She's moving, going backward and making a sine wave, just a static sine wave. So down, up, down. Let's go. So this is the power she has gotten. So it shows 5. It's the lower part here. Now the second one. And go. And on this one, it shows 23. So you can see the difference of power there is between the two punches. Okay. The second one was more powerful just because she had much more penetration. Okay, the next stance we're gonna see how to move within the sine wave is the L stance. So the first way is in case we are moving into what I call a circular techniques, for example, a block. Okay, for the main one, the most important one, for example, the son kat demi marking. You just a son kat demi marking. So this one, two, one, two, one, two. Correct? Okay. So let's start from the L stance. Okay. The way we do it, what we want to look for is the direction in which we're going to initiate our motion. So, as for the walking stance, we're going to try to anchor our position and give our hip the direction we want to go. In that case, the L stance wants to go that way. We want to not aim here, but we really want to go down, side, down into the stance. So if I am holding her shoulders, I am going to guide her and anchor her into the stance. From there, the hip is going to go and align itself. The preparation of the stance and the target is going to be aligned. And from there, we go back to the warm-up that we did in the beginning. Remember, the hips that are a little bit separated. So from here, the hip is going to go backward, and then get the sine. Okay, so 1 and 2. Second one, 1. If you notice, I'm not throwing the shoulders sideways and the hand back, because otherwise we're going to have a full circle, when in reality what we're looking for is actually a direction for the motion. We're not going that way, but we're going that way. We're going into a kind of undulation motion. Okay? So 1, 2, and then going forward and using the hip. Alright? That's the first way to move in the sine. What is important really, I go back, sorry. I go back again, the motion, what I'm looking for, and this is one thing that we notice, people trying to set up the stance before they move. And this is where people rotate and they heel. Like they are here, then they rotate, they put the foot out, and then they go. Okay, what we're looking for is not dividing the motion, not having the foot and then the hip, but actually getting my foot to actually give, let's say, the direction for my hip to move. Let's imagine I have a stone and I would like to throw the stone. I don't do 1, 2, 3, but actually I just 1 and then I throw my stone. And it's the same principle in the L stance. So anchor your foot first. 1, 2, 3. That's, in my opinion, the way you move into the L stance. Okay, now we go into the second way of moving into the L stance, which is, let's imagine we're moving into an L stance and a reverse plunge, okay? So from here, what we want is just a forward momentum. Let's imagine we're going into a walking stance. Okay? We're getting a walking stance, middle punch. The L stance is exactly the same way, except at the last second, we're going to rotate our hip and push it into the direction of the punch. So from here, 1, 2, extending, you see, we are actually pointing where we are going to, and what we want to make sure is to actually go and bump, land into our stance. So the way we perform the sine wave here is exactly the same way as we would perform it into the walking stance. Watch here. The important part of the front leg, the important part of the front leg is that because we are going forward, I am going to actually have to anchor my foot forward. I'm going to have to anchor my body weight forward, the same way as I would go into a walking stance. If you notice, the whole body weight is going to go into the front leg. The back leg cannot work. Why? Because the foot is facing there. I would have to actually rotate the foot in to be able to go. When in reality here, I can just go. I can just go. Okay? That's the second way of performing the L stance sine. The third way is when we are going into an L stance obverse punch. So 윤재소 가운데 바로시. So from here, watch carefully, her shoulder is parallel. We go back to the foundation. Shoulders, hip, and feet align, perpendicular. The front hand, the punching hand is centered, so it's centered, it's in the center line of her body weight, which makes it by nature parallel to the front foot. Okay? She doesn't have to move the hip inward in order to generate it, but she just has to go into a normal natural stance like we discussed earlier, and the punch will automatically be aligned. If it's aligned with the front, the center of the body, it will automatically be, how do you call it, parallel to the front foot. We always say, you know, the punching hand is parallel to the front foot, and this is the way to do it. So from here, it's the same principle. It's a mixture of both. Let's go back to it. It's a mixture of both. From here, what we are looking for now is to anchor the front foot out, because we are going in this direction, and we want to point in the opposite direction. And from there, we just go into the stance and punch. From here, we just transfer and punch. Transfer and punch. Transfer and punch. Relax. Okay. If you notice, the less time we have in the sine wave, the less extra movement we have time to do with our upper body. So from here, she's in the walking stance, for example, L stance, and she's going into the knife hand guarding block. If she would have to do a big sine wave, she would have to do an extra movement with the arm. Otherwise, that would be redundant. So if she would make a very deep sine wave, let's imagine. Yeah, she would have to make a very big upper body motion. Okay? And this is not what we are looking for. What we are looking for is efficiency, and efficiency for me is the shortest way between A and B, and I live in Finland, we love minimalistic things. Okay? So from here is just 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back. One more time. 1. Watch carefully. The hands are in guarding block. When she's going to go into the backward motion of the guarding block, the hands are already in position. She doesn't have to open, to create, to go, to prepare. So 1, she just has to anchor the foot, go. She's already into the guarding block preparation. And from there, she just prepares. Boom. From there, she just goes. From there, she just goes. Okay? Same thing, yeah, maybe you can show it this way. Okay, watch here. 1, maybe the other side. 1. So watch carefully, the hand is just 1. It did not move, they did not drop. The hands did not drop, they just remained exactly where they are. 1, 2, 2. That's, for me, the way to perform an efficient guarding. Okay? And the 3 ways of performing the sine wave in an L stance. Okay, now I would like to talk about a subject that is very dear to me. And in my opinion, this is one thing that is a little bit, I wouldn't say kill, but it's a little danger that our art has. The legacy of our art has is that now we're trying to actually create forms instead of actually proper choreography of movements, okay? So, movement for me, as you know, we have multiple things in each movement. We have breathing, we have technique, we have everything. And what we are looking for now is how do we, I don't know how to put it, honestly, because I don't know how to put it diplomatically, if I can say it. People are looking for crispness. People are looking for something that looks sharp and fast at the end. And in my opinion, this kills the whole purpose of the choreography. Because once you have a sudden stop in movement, it's extremely difficult to connect it to the next one. And what we are looking for is actually fluidity in the pattern. We are looking not for speed. Now, of course, the technical committee is talking about trying to get a little bit, I wouldn't say faster tempo, but a little bit more fluidity, and people understand it as going faster into the patterns. So what's happening is that people are performing the techniques themselves faster, keeping the same pose between the techniques, the same time of pose between the techniques. And for me, this is not the purpose. What we are looking for when we perform a pattern is building layers over layers over layers over layers. It's like having a song and listening to a song, and every time you pause the song, you need to be able to get it when you resume it at the right time when you have paused it, not that you go back to the beginning. And what is happening nowadays is that we are ending, the end result of our technique is that we are actually resetting every motion again and again and again, which creates a series of movement, but not a choreography. So here, 1. Okay. What we are looking for is something a little bit more forward momentum. So I need to have directional power. My breathing has to be also connected. I inhale, I exhale. I inhale, I exhale. I inhale, I exhale. I don't inhale, hold my breath and go. It's not one. When I do, automatically I tense my stomach muscles to release them. You don't want that. You want to relax, you want to let your body perform. And your technique has to actually go through. So what happens for me is this. What we're looking for is forward momentum. Inhale, 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 inhale. Inhaling is what happens between B and A. Exhaling is between A and B, if it makes sense. Okay, so before I leave you, I would like to just announce that with a friend of mine, Mr. James Montier, we are writing a little bit. I am trying to get my ideas together, and he will be maybe writing them into a book. So what we're trying to build is actually a more interactive book, which will be a mixture of videos and book and multimedia, so that it will be more accessible for everybody and all the audiences. We will be talking mostly about our theory of movement, more than the patterns themselves. I think I discussed the situation, the matter with different masters and grandmasters, and they said that there is enough pattern books around, and I think that, but this is something maybe that is absolutely necessary to be written. So, of course, I say it again, this is my philosophy, this is my way of thinking. Maybe some people have a different opinion, completely different philosophies, and that's okay. And this is what makes us rich as an art. This is what makes our Taekwondo so alive, is because we have an open mind and we're able to debate philosophies and technical matters. I hope this session was useful and that it gave you a small insight. Of course, what I'm saying is only my personal interpretation of techniques. Everybody has his own. I think that you should always follow what your instructor says. But if you have any question, if you think that this was interesting, please feel free to contact us, any of us, if you have any doubts or you want to debate or discuss. It's always good to discuss techniques. There is no, how do you say that? There's no absolute truth. We are all looking at the same mountain, but maybe from different angles. All right? So thank you again for the ITF for the opportunity, and happy anniversary for everybody. Thank you. Good. Come on.